Paul, I would normally start these chats with someone in a new role or a new position by saying, welcome to the football club, welcome to Argyle.
Yep.
But obviously you know Argyle, you've been around for quite a few years on the board, but now in the position of chief executive. So tell us, I suppose, how it feels to you to be sat there as the new CEO of the club.
I mean, great, fantastic. I mean, it's a bit strange, obviously. I've been here a long time, one way or another, and I've been coming to the games for 10 years since moving down here from the northwest. So it's a bit strange, a privilege, really, to be in the role, and I'm really looking forward to it. Really, really looking forward to it.
What was it, about the opportunity, I suppose, that made you think that it was the right time and position for you to make that transition from board member to?
Are you asking me what was so attractive about coming to be the CEO of a football club?
Exactly that.
From being 7 years old, Charlie. I'm sure there's lots of people who would understand that the answer to that question is, of course. But I mean, I love Argyle. I've been here 10 years. I love coming to the match. I always have done. I've always watched football matches all my life, and I watched Oldham when I was a young lad. When I lived in the northwest, and I always went to the game every week and loved all that. And since coming down here, we've been to Argyle most games at home and a lot of games away, and I really love the club. It's a great place, and I think football clubs are important for cities. And I felt that when I was in my teenage years watching Oldham when they were in the Premier League, and how successful that was. And really, I know how important Argyle is to the city of Plymouth and the surrounding area. I live in Cornwall myself, so it's a great place, great opportunity, really, superb thing to be able to do.
Yeah. For those that don't know your kind of background, not necessarily in supporting a football club in Oldham and coming to matches here, but just kind of a career background, where have you been? What have you done up to this stage?
Yeah, so you can tell by the accent, I'm not really from the southwest. I can't seem to shake this northwest Manchester accent. So I'm an accountant by trade. That's my background, really. But I've done lots of different jobs in lots of different industries. So sometimes I've been in pure finance roles, sometimes I've been in commercial roles, sometimes I've been in operational roles. The job that I've been doing most recently is the CEO of a dairy in Cornwall, a dairy business, food manufacturing business. But I've worked in lots of different industries. I've worked in China for medicines manufacturing. I've worked for the co-op for a long time. But the thing I've always done in whatever organisation I've been in is to be able to use information and data to make better decisions. And every organisation, no matter what you're doing, is a people business. So you get people trying to do great things, and using information to make that better is the way forward. So whether you're in a retail food industry or whether you're in a food manufacturing industry, then those things are important. I think for a football club, they're even more important. It's even more people focused. It's about people. Everything's about people here. So, I'm looking forward to bringing a bit of my experience in leading teams in different organisations, bringing some of that good decision making to the club, and then moving us all forward.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that then. Potentially the kind of challenges, but opportunities that there are within a football club, which feels like a bit of a unique business compared to the norm in inverted commas, because it's a passion for people.
Yeah.
It's you've got the football side of things, plus the kind of aspects around the stadium, the staff, there's so many different aspects, as you know.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges, but also opportunities for you in this role as chief executive?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the thing is for the club to be as successful as we can. So, I think my job is to make sure everything happens well in the club, have the right people, the right processes, the right decision making, so that we can be as successful as we can, and particularly financially, so that we can put as much of that on the pitch as possible. So if we put more of it on the pitch, then we're successful, and then it builds a turbine. So you're more successful on the pitch, you go up the league, you bring more interest in the club, that give you more finances, that can put more onto the pitch, and you can build like that. Obviously, we try and run the club sustainably, financially, and we're still not quite there yet, but we want to be able to do that, because I think it's important that the club is here for the long term, and the infrastructure investments that have been put in the last few years are really important to making that happen. So there's lots of opportunity, I think. I mean, we're the only club in the city, and there's lots of cities that have got lots of competition. You go to Bristol, you go to Manchester, you go wherever you go in the UK, there's two clubs competing. And I remember the the day that we had the celebration for the promotion, I went into town before the game and I had breakfast with my wife, and we saw the bus parade going past, and everybody in the city was pro Argyle. Now, if you went to Manchester, half the city would be anti whichever team was celebrating. So really the opportunity for us is to have that real sense of pride and to be really, really successful. Now, there's loads of stuff going on that we've got already in train. Folkestone Park, lots and lots of investment opportunities that have happened in the last couple of years that we're trying to optimise. There's loads of things going on around investors and trying to bring that forward. But one of the things is we've got to just make sure that everybody's got real pride in the place and we're doing the best thing that we can.
Well, on that then, what have you, because you know the club quite well, but
reasonably well.
What is the I suppose the state or the situation of play right now? Do you feel?
So I think it's really good. I mean, obviously it's great. I mean, there's been so much good stuff that's happened in the last 5, 6, 7 years, and so there's no reason to think that we're suddenly going to change course or there's going to be a massive revolution. It's not like that. I think one of the things that we do want is a bit more stability. There's been a lot of personnel change, and one of the things that's important to me, and I think important to the club, is that we have people who are here for the long term, who can really help build, who can make sure that vision that we've got about what Argyle can be comes to fruition. So we really want people who are believing in the club and who are here and who can really help for the long term. So I think that's probably the big thing that we can try and change. Just create a culture that people are here more, they're more stable. We have a bit less, because we've had a lot of change, both around the football management side, but also in the backroom staff as well, and in the offices. So we want to kind of stop that a bit, really, and make sure that's a bit more stable.
Yeah, okay. You mentioned a couple of things just a moment ago around the development at Folkestone Park, and how that's sort of a big project. The word investors is always sort of there, and it has been for the last year, 18 months or so. And you've also mentioned the pitch, the football side of things. Yeah. So what's your kind of position, I suppose, on all of those in terms of focus or where pools of money go or whatever?
Yeah, okay. So I mean, money comes in and money comes out, so trying to think of it in discrete terms is a bit of a challenge, I think, and sometimes you can get in knots about that. But I think those 4 things that you've talked about there, I think, are really important. So I think the success on the pitch for the women's team and the men's team is really important. And hopefully the last couple of games we've seen a bit of an improvement from the men's team, which is great to see. I was at Burton last week, and fantastic to see 4 goals going. Nobody's more pleased than I am when these things happen. I'm still a fan, no matter what my job might be. And the women's team are doing really well as well, progressing in the cup competition, very riding high in the league. So, supporting Tom and supporting Marie, is a big part of my job, making sure that they've got what they need to have the success on the pitch. And I think then the 2 other big things that are probably going to be focus areas are Folkestone Park. It's a large project that's been going on for a long time. It's been well managed up to this point. It's a joint project with lots of different stakeholders, but particularly Argyle Community Trust, of which I've been a trustee for a while as well. And Mark and the team have got the hub already operational there. So working with them on that and completing the Folkestone Park project. So we've got a home for the academy and for the women's team is a big focus over the next 12 months. I think that the investors is always a conversation, and Simon has been pretty clear that we've had conversation with investors and it's not quite landed where we wanted it to. That's still a conversation that's going on in the background, and some things might happen in the immediate term and some things might not. These things are a bit unknown. It's like selling a house sometimes. Sometimes it can sell in 2 weeks, sometimes it can take 5 years to sell. You just don't really know. We don't need it. We're not relying upon new investors to come in to survive. That's not where we are. We've got very stable financials. We've got good business behind us, which is bringing in revenue to support the team. We've got good ownership that are very supportive of the club. We know that we need those investors really to push on beyond the Championship. We've been in the Championship for a couple of years, in the last couple of years, and we fell short last year, and that's disappointing. We think we can get back to the Championship, and we're right behind everybody to do that. But if we want to go beyond that, we're going to need investors. So that is still going on in the background. We're re-kicked off the process to look at that. But it may be that something happens this season, it might not. But we don't need it. And it's important that we get the right investors. We don't just need money indiscriminately. We need the right people who are going to know about Argyle, who are going to be supportive, who are going to be the right custodians of the club in the future. So really, 4 things that are important for me are the men's team, the women's team, Fulston Park and the investors. They're the big projects for us.
How much of a help do you feel that your background in working in finance and accountancy and stuff is a help in this position as well? Especially with the sustainability tag that we want to get to.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously I know how that's been working. I mean, I recruited David Ray originally before he's moved on to better things. So, and I work closely with David. So the financial stuff, I think, is bread and butter stuff to me, and that's a big part of it. But I think the big thing that I'm hoping to bring from an experience perspective is that I've used information to make better decisions. And it's really not about finance, it's about good information. And I think that no matter what walk of life you're in, if you've got better information, it helps you make better decision making. It doesn't mean that better information always gives you the right answer without thinking about all the other aspects. But what it does mean is, if you've got more information and it's good quality, it can help inform. So that's the thing that I think personally my experience is going to bring. I've led big teams in other organisations as well, worked in different industries, but it's always about people. And so I'm hoping to be able to bring a bit of people skills that I might have or may not, depends on who you ask, to the club.
Yeah, okay. What do you think, Paul, then, in your opinion? What are going to be the biggest things that you will need to, I don't want to say get up to speed with, but I don't know, get on board with early, understand, get in your head, certainly in the short term, I suppose, being new to this position at the club? Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, I've never worked in football before. So, I mean, that's massively exciting, obviously. But, there are things that I need to listen and learn and understand. And we've got experts to do that kind of thing. We've got lots of people in the team, whether it's Tom or whether it's Nance. I want to listen to these guys who've been around and understand football and learn so that I can support them. So that's the thing that I need to understand. Also, being a director, you're not here every day. I've been a non-exec director. I want to know how people work. I want to know the culture of the place. And working with the people is really important. So they're the things that are really, I don't need to learn how to get up to speed on the financials, but, being here every day, working with people, understanding what's important, how we make the best of what we've got is probably the things that I need to learn.
And in your experience as well, being here every day or being around the place and seeing people and getting to know the different areas of the club.
Yeah.
How important is that you are a visible person?
Yeah. No, I think it's important. I mean, anybody can come and talk to me, and I'm really happy to talk to them. And I'm sure that my wife will tell you that she has to drag me out to parties from talking to people or wherever we go. So it's important. I like to talk to people, and I talk to people about football and talk to people about the club, and so anybody can come and talk to me. I'm really happy to talk to them. So it is important for me. I live locally, I live in Cornwall. I live 20 miles away, and so I've worked in Plymouth before and commuted into Plymouth. So I think being part of where you work is really important. It's important culturally. So I think it's important for everybody when you're part of an organisation that you do feel together, and it's called Home Park after all. So.
Final two. I mentioned what you think might be the things you might need to learn or kind of, see how they work. But on the flip side to that, what are the things that you are most looking forward about doing as chief executive of Plymouth Argyle Football Club?
Wow, I get to be the chief executive of a football club. Oh my God, and a football club that I've watched and I'm in love with. So who wouldn't look forward to that? So, I mean, that's fantastic. And I've always loved coming to the game since being a 7-year-old, and going to the game and seeing it work well on the pitch and off the pitch. That's really what I'm looking forward to. It's an amazing thing coming to a football match, and it's so great. So really, being part of that every week is fabulous. It's such a privilege. And
to end on, what would be your message to supporters? First time sat here as the chief exec, what would be your message to supporters about what is to come?
Well, I think we all want the same thing. We all want to see Argyle have the greatest success. And on the pitch, getting as high up the league as we possibly can. I think that's great. I think everybody understanding that we're trying to do that in the right way for the long term. I know it can be frustrating. You think, why don't we just spend another £20 million on the team? I think that's obviously a temptation for lots of clubs. And as a fan, you want those things to happen. But I think we all want the same thing here. We all want Argyle to be as successful as we can. We all want to be a really great championship team in the first instance. So let's focus on getting back there.